Connecting to AI. Connecting to AI. Connecting to AI.
To jest podcast AI Codziennie, czyli co słychać w sztucznej inteligencji. Zapraszam do wysłuchania najciekawszych informacji ze świata AI.
Dzień dobry, przy mikrofonie Michał Dobrzański. Zapraszam do wysłuchania dzisiejszego odcinka AI Codziennie. To jest wersja angielska odcinka numer 293. Więc jeśli nie znasz angielskiego, standardowy odcinek po polsku też jest dostępny. A jeśli znasz angielski, to posłuchaj dalej. To jest rozmowa wygenerowana na podstawie dokładnie tego samego skryptu co standardowo i dotyczy newsów właśnie z tego odcinka. Użyłem tu narzędzia Google Notebook LM, które tworzy dynamiczne konwersacje. Niestety, narzędzie działa póki co wyłącznie po angielsku. Ale efekt jest naprawdę zdumiewający, przyznam szczerze. Po prostu wrzuciłem tam suchy skrypt po polsku, a efekt jest, no posłuchaj, bo ciężko to opisać. I ciężko tu stwierdzić, że zrobiła to sztuczna inteligencja.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready to dive in?
Always. What are we looking at this time?
Well, today we're getting into AI.
Yes.
It's everywhere these days, right? But we're going deeper than just the usual.
Right.
Like it can write you a poem or whatever.
Yeah, we're way past that now.
Exactly. This is about AI creating content.
Mm-hmm.
A&D, then using that content to learn.
Learning from itself, essentially.
Yeah, kind of meta, right?
Very much so. And it's moving so fast, it's already impacting so many aspects of our lives.
Okay, so let's bring in some specifics because we found this open text report. And get this.
Okay.
40% of people are using generative AI every week. Every week.
That's a huge chunk of...
I know. It's like not just tech people playing around anymore.
It's mainstream.
Totally. And what's even more fascinating is that there's this generational gap in how people are using it.
Really? How so?
So the report showed that people over 40, like 45, 50, less likely to have tried it.
Interesting.
But almost everyone thinks it's going to be everywhere in a few years.
Which probably true.
Right. So it makes you think, where do you fit into all of this? Are you using it? Avoiding it? Waiting to see what happens?
It's something to consider, for sure. And as AI becomes more integrated, it's only natural the concerns pop up.
Oh, absolutely. And this report found that 90% of people are at least a little worried about AI.
Makes sense, especially when you think about data privacy.
It's like, what are they doing with all that information?
Exactly. And it's not just knowing your shopping habits anymore.
Right.
It's about AI potentially understanding us in ways we can't even grasp yet.
And the thing is, this technology, it's evolving so fast.
It really is.
Yeah.
Faster than we can even regulate it sometimes.
And that's where the anxiety comes in, you know?
Yeah.
Like 77% of parents in this report were worried about their kids' data being used by AI.
It's a valid concern, especially when you consider how much data kids are generating these days.
Exactly. And speaking of AI doing incredible things, have you seen what Adobe's been up to with video editing?
Oh, yeah. They're going all in on AI-powered tools.
Yeah. It's blowing my mind. Imagine typing out a description and having AI generate an entire video clip from that.
I know. It sounds like something in a science fiction, but it's becoming a reality.
And it's not just about generating new content.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the editing possibilities. Adobe has this new tool, right, that can extend a video clip by 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like much, but think about it. You could fix a continuity error.
Or add emphasis to a particular moment.
Exactly. It gives video editors this whole new level of precision.
It's like having a magic eraser for video.
Right. But then again, with any new tech, we've got to talk about the potential downsides.
Of course. And with AI generating realistic video, the big one is...
Deepfakes.
Exactly. The potential for misinformation is a huge concern.
How do we even tell what's real anymore?
Well, Adobe's taking steps. They're working on a system that actually tags AI-generated content.
So you'd know if what you were looking at was...
created by AI or filmed in the real world.
Which is huge for transparency.
Absolutely. It's a good first step, but there's still a lot to figure out.
There is. And it goes back to those concerns about data privacy. It's not just about the data itself, but what that data can then be used to create.
And the implications of that, which are still unfolding.
We're talking about shaping reality, potentially. And we need to be very careful about how we proceed.
Couldn't agree more. This is uncharted territory in so many ways.
It is. And we're just getting started. And it gets even wilder, right? Like we've talked about AI generating text, images, even video.
Right, but it goes even deeper than that.
Because, hold on to your hats, folks, because now we're talking about synthetic data.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay, so for anyone who, hasn't stumbled down this particular rabbit hole, what exactly are we talking about when we say synthetic data?
So basically, it's AI generating its own data to train other AI.
Wait, so AI is making up its own practice material?
Pretty much. It's like instead of learning from real-world examples, it can create a whole bunch of artificial data to train on.
And why is that? What's the advantage of that?
Well, think about how AI is trained now. It needs massive amounts of data, right? And that data can be expensive to collect. It can be difficult to get enough of it.
Right. And there's the whole privacy issue, too.
Exactly. But with synthetic data, you can sidestep a lot of those problems.
So it's more efficient.
Potentially, much more efficient. And there are already some really promising results.
Like what?
Well, Gartner predicts that by next year, 60% of the data used for AI training could be synthetic.
60%? That's huge.
It is huge. It shows how quickly this technology is developing.
It's not just some experimental thing anymore. It's going to be the norm.
It's well on its way to becoming the norm.
Which makes you think, what does that mean for, everything?
It's hard to even grasp the full implications. Imagine the possibilities in medical research, for example, where getting real data can be so difficult.
Or any field where you need a ton of data to train AI, like climate modeling or...
Absolutely. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
But of course, there's always a but, right? What about bias? If the AI creating the synthetic data is working from a biased data set, wouldn't that bias then get amplified?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's something researchers are keenly aware of. If we're not incredibly careful, we could end up with AI that is even more biased than what we have now.
So it's not just about the quantity of data, it's the quality and where it's coming from.
And being aware of the potential consequences.
This is always the challenge with new tech, right?
Yeah.
Figuring out how to use it responsibly.
Exactly. It's about potential and responsibility and finding that balance.
Because, like we've been saying, this isn't some distant future we're talking about. This is happening now.
Yeah.
And the choices we make today will have huge ripple effects down the line.
No doubt about it. We're shaping the future, whether we realize it or not.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little overwhelmed just thinking about all the angles here.
It's a lot, right? And we've only scratched the surface of what AI is already doing, let alone where it's going.
It's like we talk about AI being woven into our lives, but it's almost more like it's becoming the loom itself,
I like that analogy. It's shaping the very fabric of how we experience the world.
And how do we even begin to make sense of it all?
Right.
Every day there's something new, some new breakthrough. Are we destined to just be constantly playing catch-up?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, it's definitely a lot to keep up with, but that's why it's so important to be having these conversations.
Right, like this deep dive, for example.
Yeah.
Talking it through, bouncing ideas off each other. That's got to be part of it, right?
Absolutely. The more we talk about it, the more we understand the potential benefits and risks, the better equipped we are to make informed decisions.
Okay, so if someone's listening to this and they're maybe feeling a little overwhelmed, a little unsure about all this AI stuff,
yeah,
what would you say? What's the one thing people should take away from this?
That's a good question. I think the most important thing is to remember that we're not just along for the ride. We have a say in how this technology develops and what role it plays in our lives.
We're not just passive bystanders. We're active participants, whether we realize it or not.
Exactly. Every choice we make, every conversation we have, it all feeds into the bigger picture.
So stay curious, ask questions, and don't be afraid to dive in and explore this stuff, even if it seems a little intimidating at first.
Definitely. Because who knows? You might just discover something amazing.
And that's what it's all about, right? Embracing the possibilities, but also being mindful, being responsible. It's a wild, wild world out there, folks, and it's only getting wilder. But hey, we're all in this together, so until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
Dzięki za wysłuchanie dzisiejszego odcinka. Słyszymy się niebawem. Cześć.
Masz tu AI codziennie, podcast, który dostarcza ci wiedzę.